Okay, very good. Well, I think we've got the technology working okay. Hopefully, everybody hears me just fine. Thank you all for joining us today. Now that we have moved these calls to a weekly basis, we have a very, very robust agenda to cover. Lots and lots of updates to make today, but we're very grateful. We do have two guest speakers that I want to get to right away that I think have some very, very important updates for us. The first one I want to introduce, and he's been on the call several times over the last few months, been very, very gracious with his time. He's doing a great job serving health here in Shiawassee County as the head of our health department. Really doing great work protecting our community. Larry Johnson. I wanted to have Larry on today, not only to give everybody an update about what's going on with the virus here in Shiawassee County, but also, as we all know, the mask issue has really risen to the top over the last few days, particularly as it relates to businesses. So I thought it'd be really good to have a perspective from our local health director on what all is entailed with that. And then obviously, if anyone has any questions, Larry is available for that. And we are going to jump right into questions for Larry as soon as he's done, because I know he has another commitment. So with that, once again, thank you, Larry, for all you've been doing over the last several months and years, quite honestly, in your position to protect the public health here in Shiawassee County, and thank you for coming on the call today. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
All right, Star6, can you hear me now?
You're good, Larry. Yep, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now, Justin?
Yep, you're good, Larry.
Okay, good. I just had to push *6 there. Well, thanks for the kind words. As you said, been in this job for years. This last few months feels like it's been years, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. But anyway, just to give you a quick overview here of the latest numbers here in Shiawassee County. As of last Wednesday, we had 259 cases of COVID, and we had 27 deaths, 224 recoveries. We have no one hospitalized. I anticipate this week we'll have a few more cases. And, back in June, we had really bent the curve and we were on a good trend. We were seeing, maybe not even a case a week. And I was real confident. But as things have opened up more and more, obviously we're starting to see some more cases. What we're seeing is the cases in younger people now, as opposed to what we saw early on, which was the nursing home cases, and really affecting the elderly. So we had done a lot of testing in our nursing homes, and we were kind of at the front line, the forefront of that. When a lot of other counties had not tested, we were testing. And so we had a lot of cases that came out of that. Well, now, the nursing homes are doing some more testing for their employees. They're required to test weekly. So we anticipate getting some more cases out of the nursing homes, but we're hopeful that it won't be like it was. But the problem we have right now is there's not a whole lot of testing going on just overall in Shiawassee County. Memorial was the only game in town, but obviously they charge. It's $110, and that has been a barrier to some people to get tested. So I know Convenient Urgent Care is now testing over by Mancino's, and I'm not exactly sure what they're charging. I think it's about $35. But what we're working on at the health department is partnering with Great Lakes Bay Health Center, which is a federally qualified health center located by Pleasant View behind Home Depot. And we're planning to get some free testing set up to our residents. Now, I'm not sure what the demand for that's going to be, so we'll probably start out just a couple days, a few hours a day, see what the demand is. And the way I envision it, it's going to be like drive-through testing that you've seen in other counties. You will have to have a driver's license. If you have insurance, they will bill. If you do not, you will not be turned away. So the point is to increase our testing capacity so that we can identify and isolate any positive cases to help contain the spread, and that will help. So now, as far as talking about, we're in community spread here. You probably read in the paper. We've had some incidents. We had an incident with a church where there were a couple positive cases that attended a fireworks. We had a Walmart exposure. We've had a Arby's exposure. So as I said, we're not seeing it as much right now in the nursing homes. We're seeing it out in the community. So we want to continue to be safe, and to take the proper protocols and steps to protect your business, to protect your customers, to protect your employees. A couple other things, I'm working with the school superintendents right now, and that is really difficult. Schools are planning to reopen, and it's challenging for a lot of reasons. So I'm working closely with them, and they don't envy me, and I don't envy them right now. Also, regarding enforcement of these executive orders, I think you're all aware of where law enforcement has stood in the county. It's a tough situation. It really is. The health department is not going to be the mask police. However, having said that, if we get complaints, we're going to reach out to the business. We're going to reach out to you and try to gain voluntary compliance. I don't have the staff or resources to chase down every person, every business. I just can't do it. And as far as an update with, where these lawsuits are against the governor, it's interesting. They're in appeal right now. And shockingly, they're set up to be heard after the August primary. So we won't have any resolution on that until after the primary. And the Supreme Court will not hear them until they're done with the appeals court, and that probably won't be until early September. So that's kind of a big one, because depending on how that goes is going to have a lot of influence on whether or not there is any enforcement going forward. But like I said, we're going to work with the businesses. I have not taken a stance of, okay, we're just going to sit up here in our ivory tower and command you. That's not the way we operate. But at the same time, I'm trying to get to help with this pandemic by getting people to comply with what we know works, which is masks and social distancing. And so Michigan's in a better spot right now than a lot of these other states. If you look at what's going on in Texas and Florida, and California just locked down. They're hitting hospital capacity in Houston, Miami-Dade, where we were back in March and April, they are now. And so I don't want to go back there. So we've got to kind of keep doing what we're doing. The mask requirement came out. I can tell you right now, I sent it to Justin, and hopefully he will share it with you. I'm sure he will. The requirement under the executive order is to wear a mask in any indoor public space, and when outdoors, if unable to consistently maintain 6-foot social distancing, and also when riding on public transportation. Obviously, there are exceptions and exemptions. If you cannot medically tolerate it, you do not have to wear a mask. If you are younger than 5 years old, you do not have to wear a mask. When you sit down at the restaurant, you obviously can't wear a mask when you're sitting there trying to eat your sandwich. So there are some exemptions. What I'm seeing so far is most businesses are complying, even if they don't necessarily agree with it. The big box stores, obviously, they can watch at the door, they can sell you a mask or give you a mask. Even the mom and pop businesses too, they're trying. Everybody's trying to do the best they can. And you can't really identify someone if they tell you they got a medical problem, well, you're on the honor system on that. So you're not expected to try to say, well, show me your medical history. Well, no. If they're telling you they got asthma or they got something, don't just go with it, because you get into all kinds of other issues with HIPAA and so on and so forth. So my advice to you, I know the governor put a misdemeanor $500 fine. I don't think you're going to see that going on around here as far as people running around citing. I'm not looking for that. I'm just going to try to gain voluntary compliance and work with you. And we're going to do the best we can. I mean, this is a tough situation. Unfortunately, this pandemic has become political. And really at the end of the day, I just need to do public health. So, and my job isn't always easy, but that's what I'm here to do. So with that, I'll try to take a couple quick questions if you have some. I may not have all the answers, but I'll do the best I can, and I'll also try to help get an answer if I can't answer a question. So I'm going to turn it back over to Justin. Do you want to mute me, Justin?
Yeah, no, you don't need to be muted, Larry. Yeah, yeah, Larry did send me a copy of that executive order. I will share that with all of you by email yet today. Yeah, normally we wait on questions to the end, but since there's a limited time window, I'd like to open the floor now. If anyone has any questions for Larry, please ask it now, and you may do so by hitting *6 on your phone and unmuting yourself. So does anyone have a question for Larry right now?
Hey, Justin, this is Colleen. I have
Colleen,
a question for Larry, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is the governor starting to talk about fines for businesses? I know the $500, I believe, is per individual, but are they going to start fining businesses if they find the business is not trying to enforce the rule?
Yeah, can you hear me? That is an excellent question. Yeah, I'm just looking at the order right now to see what the exact language on that. I mean, I know she put it out, and I don't know how you differentiate. Trying to differentiate between the businesses and the people. I mean, first of all, you have to try to. I mean, it's tough. I mean, it could happen. I mean, the way the things are going, it could be a fine for the business. It could be a fine for the person. I don't know that that's been determined yet. So I know that's not the best answer. I'll try to look into that a little bit deeper in the executive order. But the way that it doesn't really specify. So, I guess you'd want to err on the side of caution on that one. I'll look into it a little bit deeper. See if I can come up with something for you. Who are you with?
Oh, I'm sorry. I do the farmers market, so I was kind of wondering on that sense, as far as if people are wearing masks, but also I work with Kojak, and we're inside there.
Okay, so as far as the farmers market, that could be a little bit of a gray area for masks outdoors. I mean, you don't have to wear them outdoors unless you're in a crowded public place. So if it was, crowded, I don't even know. It's just such gray areas that are hard to enforce. But if it's not crowded and you're spaced out at a farmer's market, you wouldn't need it.
Okay, that's good to know.
Thank you, Colleen. And Larry, yeah, if you do get any input, advice, I'll just share it with me. I'll let the whole group know about it.
Yeah, can you hear me, Justin?
Yeah, you're good. Yep.
Yeah, the way it reads is a willful violation of the misdemeanor is subject to a $500 criminal penalty, but no term of confinement will be imposed, and it's on individuals who violate the mask requirement. So it's not saying the businesses, it seems like they're putting it on the people, and if they don't have it, the businesses can turn them away. That's the right of the business. So it looks like it's on the person and not the business.
Okay. Anybody else have questions for Larry? If you do, please hit *6 on your phone. Any other questions for Larry right now? Okay. Well, Larry, once again, thank you so much for your time, for your input, and all you're doing to help us out. I will email that out to the group, the order, and then if you get any additional input, anything you want me to share with the business community here in Shiawassee, just let me know and I'd be happy to do so.
Yeah, and one last thing, under the order, the businesses are supposed to post a sign that customers should wear masks or are required to wear masks coming in. So that's just one thing that they can do to help themselves.
Okay. Okay. Well, Larry, thank you for your time, and I'm sure we'll have you on again in coming weeks. But for now, appreciate your time today.
All right. Thanks a lot, Justin. Take care, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Okay, well, thank you, Larry, or thanks, Larry, for giving us that update. Want to switch gears now. Tomorrow is a very big day. The application windows for two major grant programs are coming open. And I wanted to have our business development manager from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, Tyler DeBrabander, who also has joined us numerous times over the last few months, on the call to give everybody an update on these two programs and what it's about, who's eligible, how the application works, all that. And I will fill in some detail as well from a local perspective. But Tyler, if you jump on now and tell us what you know and what our businesses need to be looking for.
Yeah, thanks, Justin. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Perfect. So yeah, I know we've talked about this a little bit, at least the main program here, but extra important because these applications are set to open tomorrow. First one we're going to talk about is the Michigan Small Business Restart Program. This is a $100 million fund that has been allocated to this program from the Federal CARES Act, giving up to $20,000 to small businesses and nonprofits who have 50 or fewer employees. The purpose really is to offset or reduce the economic impact that we're all facing here from this pandemic as it's ongoing. And then these applications, as I said, open up tomorrow on michiganbusiness.org. I know Justin's been passing along some information, but we can definitely make sure you're plugged in and ready to access that portal tomorrow. And then once it's on there, it's going to be administered by the local EDOs. And I know, Justin, you guys have had some conversations with the Flint and Genesee Chamber and some of the other Region 6 partners on how that's going to go. So after this, if you want to expand on that a little bit, feel free. A couple of specifics about the funding. 30% of the statewide dollars from this program are set to go to minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses. And that's statewide funding of the $100 million. The application portal, as we said, opens tomorrow, July 15th, and then we'll close August 5th. And the plan right now is to have awardees announced by September 30th, hoping that it's sooner than that, but that's kind of the close date there. And then eligible expenses you can look back at eligible expenses between March 1st of this year, and that'll run through the end of this year, December 30th. And then eligible expenses there, really kind of the same things from the initial small business relief program. So necessary expenditures, in response to the pandemic, adjustments that you've had to make in safety requirements, things like that, as well as just typical operating expenses and working capital, payroll, rent, mortgage, etc. And then awardees from the small business relief program, which we did in March, April of this year, would not be eligible for this grant. But other than that, it's pretty wide open as long as you are a small business or nonprofit under 50 or fewer employees. And I can go on to the next one, but happy to answer any questions on this, as things have really been ironed out quite a bit. We've got some clarity here leading up to the launch.
Yeah, and Tyler, maybe this would be a good time for me to jump in on that one because there will be a local role, obviously, for this one. So just to flesh it out a little bit more, these are federal dollars coming through the state, and then the state, Michigan Economic Development, is disseminating those dollars into regions across Michigan. So our region, and you've heard us talk about this before, is the I-69 Thumb region. That includes Shiawassee, Genesee, Lapeer, St. Clair, and then the Thumb counties. So then within that region, those dollars will be disseminated even further down into the counties. So we are still looking at, how exactly that's going to happen. I will tell you, it is a very collaborative approach. We did that the first time when we had the grant program back at the end of March, beginning of April. And so I definitely expect it to be very fair and very equitable. The first go around, to give you a rule of thumb, and this is not going to be exact, but what's going to be available. The first go around, there was $10 million statewide, and Shiawassee County got about $91,000. There's $100 million statewide now. So I don't think it's necessarily going to be a multiplier of 10, because there's a couple of other items related to the grant. But if it's a multiplier of 10, my expectation would be that somewhere in there, that neighborhood of, $800,000, maybe a little more, a little less, will be available to Shiawassee County businesses. So this is a much bigger pool of grant dollars that are available. So we are still working on finalizing those details on how that's all going to work in terms of evaluation. But it is a 3-week, I believe, application period. I'm still not actually certain if we're going to review applications during that 3 weeks, or we wait until that window closes. That's still a little bit up in the air as well. But, really from, a straight grant perspective, this is probably going to be the very, very best program that's going to be available to small businesses in Shiawassee County that we have seen to date. So we are highly encouraging any business in Shiawassee County that is under 50 employees, 50, has been affected by COVID, and did not receive the restart not the restart grant. This is the restart grant. Did not receive the small business relief grant back in April to apply. And I would also note, if you got PPP, if you got EIDL, if you got other incentives, you're still eligible. Sadly, the only ones that are not eligible are the 23 small businesses that got the grant back at the beginning of April. Those are the only ones that cannot apply this time. Everyone else under 50 is still eligible. So definitely encourage application for anyone else. So anyway, Tyler, with that, do you want to talk about the second one?
Yeah, I was a little vague there, so just wanted to clarify that on the companies that received support through the Small Business Relief Program, it's only the grant portion of that would not be eligible. The loan recipients or awardees would still be eligible for this program.
Yep.
Touching on the Michigan Agricultural Safety Grant Program, this is again a part of the state's allocation of the Federal CARES Act. This is $15 million to support agriculture processors and farms as they implement COVID-19 monitoring and mitigation strategies. So really this money is meant to protect that workforce that's so vital to our economy and everyone's daily lives. And, maybe isn't traditionally thought of as, working extremely close together, but still just an essential part of what's keeping us moving here. So 10 million of that 15 million is meant to go to food processors, and these are grants between 10 and 200,000 for that, protective equipment, for modifications you would need to make to your facility, additional sanitizing stations, really even employee training and developing new processes that are helping us stay safe here. So all of that kind of stuff can be covered by this. And then there is a 10 employee minimum on this for both the processor and farm side, but that's not exclusively full-time. It can be, 10 between full-time, part-time, seasonal, migrant, any combination of those. And then, so in addition to that 10 million for processors, there's 5 million available to farms. And those grants are between 10 and 50,000, but for the same purposes of just risk mitigation, extra protective equipment that you need, processes, even as far as, modifications to farm housing, things like that, just to make sure we keep moving here. And this one, applications also open tomorrow, July 15th. And this one, I would say there's a little more urgency on because they are trying to roll these out really quickly, and look at applicants that are eligible. Okay, let's get the money out the door and make sure they're able to use this while they need it. Applications, you can get through that on our website, michiganbusiness.org/ag-safety. We'll send that out as well. This one will be initially reviewed by Greenstone Farm Credit Services, and they are partnering with the MEDC, giving their recommendations to the MEDC, I believe, on a rolling basis, and then we will do some of that final approval. On this one, you're looking at expenses, or eligible uses are expenditures between June 1st of this year and September 15th, so a little tighter window there. Again, opens tomorrow. The other one, I don't know if it's as time sensitive, and really there's a need there for the Small Business Restart Program to, be able to demonstrate the financial impact. On the Ag Safety Grant Program, I'd say there's a little more urgency to get it in there, and if eligible, make sure you secure that funding.
Tyler, because it's also timely for today, and we did talk about this on the call last week, we have a call scheduled for 2 o'clock today on it's not economic gardening. It used to be called economic gardening. It's System for Integrated Growth. Can you explain what that is in case any business wants to participate today?
Yeah, we've got our specialist with the program, Rodney Parkinen, with the MEDC as well. He's going to be leading that call at 2 o'clock. It's just a quick half-hour info session, but this program really is for smaller companies. I believe it's between 10 and 99 employees, but there's definitely some wiggle room there. And it's the name's a little confusing, but it's really about that second stage growth. Companies with growth potential that have maybe seen that growth and want to look at being a little more strategic in what's next and what they target to continue that growth and be able to take some of the load off maybe the owner, main operator shoulders, and start to allow them to focus on growth. So it's really a customizable program based on what your needs are, what maybe there's a new opportunity you're looking at getting into, industry-wise, diversifying, maybe, it's implementing a new strategy or new, bit of software that's going to help you run more efficiently. Really customizable, but the MEDC will seek out and pay for a third-party consultant to work, directly with your company and an expert in their field on really whatever it is that you're looking to improve on and implement to get to that next step. So there's a lot there. I think there's a lot of directions you can take it, but we've seen companies in a lot of different areas take advantage of the program. It's really just a time commitment and just being serious about, making this implementation happen, but working with somebody who has the know-how and is there, along your side, by your side the whole way, making this happen. So would love to get people some more information on that. If you can join 2 to 2:30 today. I know Justin's got the link. We can send that out if anybody's not set up and is interested. But just, you can ask Rodney questions if there's something you're thinking about doing, see if that might be a good fit for the program, and we can get you enrolled in an intro session and get the ball rolling there. So great program. It's a little, it's large, and just that there's so much that you can do with it. So, I know I'm not going into too much on the specifics, but would love to have you join and see if there's something we can do to get you enrolled in that.
Awesome. Thank you, Tyler. I'm going to like I did with Larry, I'm going to open up the floor right now. I do have a few more updates real quick, but I just want to open up right now since Tyler's here. If anyone has any questions on that program or the grants, which are opening tomorrow, let's go ahead and ask those questions right now. So does anyone have any questions for Tyler? If you do, hit *6 on your phone, please.
Justin?
Yeah, Rich, go ahead.
Wanted to check and see if the same dates are as far as availability, depending on when businesses started. Is that go back to, I think it was February of this year, they'd be eligible, but is it the same rules as the first time?
That's a good question, Rich, as far as the start date of businesses. Tyler, do you know the answer to that? I'm not sure I do.
So the question is when a company was established to be eligible for the restart grant?
Yep.
I do not have that on hand. I'll look into that and I can get back to you, Rich.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Good question.
You have
Yep.
my phone number?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great, thanks.
I'm looking on the fact sheet right now, and I've sent out the fact sheet via email. You should have all gotten that in preparation for this. I don't see it on here. So yeah, we'll need to figure that out. But good question, Rich. Any other questions from anybody on this program? Or anything else for Tyler from the MEDC? Anyone have anything? It's *6 on your phone, please. Okay, well, Tyler, thank you for your time today.
Justin?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Quick question. This is Colleen again. On the agricultural safety grant program, is there anything available for sole proprietors? I see the program says you have to have at least 10 employees. Is there anything for smaller farms?
There's a little bit on that. It says if companies don't meet the 10 employee minimum, are you still able to apply? And the answer is yes, provided that all other eligibility requirements are met. So I think it may not be the strongest case, but I think if you can demonstrate, how you would use the grant funding to improve kind of the safety protocol of the operation, I think it's something they would take a serious look at. So I think 10 is kind of their guideline, but I'd recommend submitting if you think you've got a case for and a use for the funds.
So it's still worth it trying to apply?
Well, maybe the restart grant would be kind of a more appropriate avenue there, with meeting the criteria and still being able to use the funds for those kind of expenditures. Is that kind of along what you're looking to do with it, the safety aspect?
Yes. Not so much obviously payroll, but the food storage, the safety precautions that you have to add on, the more handling that has to be done so that it's not exposed to as many people.
Yeah.
Those sort of procedures.
I think that would be, as long as the other criteria is met, I think that would be a better fit for the business restart program.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Colleen. Other questions for Tyler? Anything else for him right now? Okay, Tyler, thank you as always for your participation on our calls and your support. We very much value our partnership with you and the MEDC. You've been very generous to Shiawassee County over the years, and definitely I think this is going to benefit many, many businesses in our county. So for those of you on the call that are interested in applying, certainly feel free to reach out, but keep an eye out tomorrow. That application does open, and take a look at it and let us know if you have any questions on it. So thank you, Tyler. So it's 9:38. I want to be respectful of your time, but I do have a few things to update you on in addition to what we've already talked about. So we're going to kind of go rapid fire here. If anyone has questions on any of it, let's hold that to the end, and we'll open the floor back up. Job fair hiring event. You should have received an email last week looking at the possibility of having a hiring event at the end of this month, July 29th. Actually talked with Larry beforehand about this, and I think we're going to look at trying to figure out an outdoor solution given everything going on. But right now we're in a phase of looking for employers who are hiring and need workers to sign up for that. We've had a few folks that have already signed up, but if you are looking for workers and would like to participate in that, please let us know. My expectation, and I won't get into this too much today, but my expectation is we are going to start to see a flooding of people back into the job market, because at this point, it does not look like that $600 federal unemployment stimulus is going to be extended. In fact, there was an article that came out this morning I read that it doesn't actually end July 31st. The final payments actually are earlier in the week. They start being paid out earlier in the week. So I think what will happen, and this is not surprising, is once people realize that that federal $600 is going away, I expect they're going to start looking for work very quickly. So I do think there's going to be a lot more job candidates on the market very shortly. So I think that's good news for businesses that are looking to hire. And this job fair could be an opportunity. So we'll send out another note on that. But if you are interested in participating in a job fair, please let us know. We are having a public hearing this Thursday at the County Board of Commissioners meeting regarding the PACE financing program. That is the financing effort to try to help companies do energy efficiency improvements. We've talked about this on previous calls, hoping that the Board of Commissioners approves creating a PACE district for Shiawassee County, which would make Shiawassee businesses eligible to use this program to help finance energy efficiency improvements, lighting, heating, windows, roofs. If you're looking at any of that for your business, please let us know, because that would be a tool in the toolbox to help with that. Thursday morning, 10 a.m., we're having a call regarding restarting the conversation on more childcare. As we all know, childcare was a huge need coming into this pandemic. It's only going to be bigger as we go forward, particularly with the school situation. So the goal of all this is, how do we get more childcare offerings, better childcare, more affordable, more availability? So if you want to be part of that conversation, we're having a reconvened work group because we already talked about it before the crisis. We're reconvening, and I emailed the call-in information out at the end of last week. I will do so again. We did send out Saturday morning a list of SBDC webinars. They've got a number of good webinars coming up. They've been great partners with us over the course of these months. Cheryl Peterson, our consultant here in Shiawassee County, as well as Janice Mueller, the regional director. So take a look at that email again. Great list of different webinars, and I believe Jody in our office will be participating in monitoring those for updates as well. There is also another webinar I sent information out on yesterday that's being put on by MSU. This would be good for, I think, anyone in the food and agriculture industry to learn about what Michigan State is doing and opportunities to partner with them. As you know, we had them on a previous call as far as trying to get more engaged with Michigan State University. So that would be good for any of you in those fields. PPP, EIDL, PPP still open. EIDL has closed. They've run out of money again. So that one is closed. If you're in the pipeline, you're okay. But if not, it has closed. Our intern this summer, Charlie, is doing some research right now on PPP. I mentioned on the call last week, very, very proud that nearly 600 Shiawassee County businesses received PPP funding. Best estimates somewhere north of $60 million have come into Shiawassee County as a result of that program. So that's been hugely impactful. Very grateful for it. So we're going to have more analysis on that coming up, but it is still open. If you've not yet done PPP, it is still available. The other thing I wanted to mention, I also sent information out on this last week. Any local government folks, there is money available through USDA rural development right now for different projects, community facilities, infrastructure projects. If you're interested in looking at any of those tools through USDA rural development, let us know. We will connect you through probably the Lansing office on that. So that would be really mainly for local government. And then I think that's just about everything I wanted to mention today. I always do want to reiterate that testing is available through Memorial. You heard Larry talk about that a little bit. And then also we do still maintain a PPE, personal protective equipment list, products and services actually. So if anyone needs that information, please let Jody in our office know. She is the keeper of that list. So a lot going on. Once again, since we're doing this once a week, it's a very robust call, a lot of information. Does anyone have any questions for me or on anything we talked about or anybody else? So if you do, hit *6 on your phone, please. Any questions from anybody? Okay, well, thank you all as usual for joining us. Keep an eye on those grant applications. If you need help or you need help on anything else, please let us know. Thanks.